Hi, we're back to do a Barbie movie review after having a pink Barbie day. And I guess I will start. Barbie movie, my review is it's a good movie. It's funny. It's a little bit of musical. There's a little bit of drama in it, in like the realities that Barbie has to make the decisions of and Ken. And the creator Ruth is also in the movie. Starts out with a great sunset and it moves on and shows the Barbie of 1959. My mom had the first Midge of 1959, and the Barbies back then, the arms and the legs were not bendable. The eyes didn't close, nothing. They just had the basic form and the black and white swimsuit, and you could, of course, buy other clothes and put them on, but that is how they first came. Then it moves on and it kind of moves into the whole disco kind of fun theme of what Barbie Land is. The whole thing of how girls play with their dolls, very simple life and fantasy, imagination that girls have with Barbies. And there's always been a lot of controversy about Barbie. And to me, I don't think there should be so much. To me, it's more a doll. I mean, if you don't look at it as a toy, then yeah, you might start having more issues. But you need to look at it as a toy for girls to play with. Some boys even get to play with them. And you get to use your imagination, have a fantasy play that other toys don't always grant you. And the fact is, girls can actually learn how to put more fashion together while dressing their Barbies. They can learn how to do hair. They can learn, many different techniques of, doing hair and different things that the Barbies, slowly started coming out with throughout the years. And I actually had many Barbies from back in the 80s. And we have other videos of those that are out that you can check out. But to me, this is one of the outfits that actually comes from one of the older Barbies that Margot Robbie is wearing. And then it also is a part where Ken first starts trying to get Barbie's attention in the movie. And he is known as And Ken, because just like, in those that believe in creation, it's Adam then Eve. In Barbie Land, it is Barbie and Ken. So Barbie came first back in 1959, and then Ken came after as like a partner to Barbie, or somebody to escort her places. And that is how Ken came to be. And so he has always been kind of known as just this extra accessory, as someone would call it, but to me, just as always her boyfriend or husband. Then it moves on and this kind of shows that in Barbie Land there is no swearing. So any word that is a swear word that they might use in the real world has to be changed to a word that is allowed in Barbie Land. Instead of beating somebody up, they use the word beach, because that is what the men go to, is the beach. So no swear words are allowed, and that is kind of where beach starts being used. And then also when, like in the real world, when men get angry or their testosterone starts going, they either start playing sports and start competing that way, or they will start doing dances. Or Barbie Land, the men don't have any weapons to use, because in Barbie toys, there are no weapons. There are no guns. There are none of that. So this shows a picture of the men using tennis rackets and anything they can get their hands on to have a war, basically. But they had to figure out ways to do that without having actual weapons, and that, they could actually try and attack each other with. And this is their dance-off they started having. This is when the movie was released, and to sum up the movie for me, I think a lot of it was basically just about the whole meaning that the real world really is about, is we need to find ourselves before we find a mate, before we find a husband or a wife or a partner. We need to figure out who we are and what makes us who we are. What are our interests? What are our gifts? What is the meaning for our life? What do we want to do with our life? Yeah, you may be able to get married young and still learn that, but the biggest thing is you need to learn to love yourself before you can ever love a partner. And to me, that's the whole meaning that is kind of woven throughout this whole movie that Greta Gerwig created with her and Margot Robbie together. And I think it actually is a really good movie. If you pay attention to it, there's a lot of points where that actually point out to this. It also weaves in the whole history of Barbie. And even though everything seems to be all in one day kind of situation, it actually kind of weaves in the whole history of Barbie throughout, in the aspect that it shows, like the 80s fashions, when Barbie goes into the real world. It shows how people used to respond to catcalls and stuff like that by being arrested, things that would happen more in the past versus the 20th century. And it kind of moves forward from there and kind of shows, all that. And there are some of the words that Barbie and Ken learned more in the real world that were never known before that. But like I said, a lot of it is just learning who they are. There's no sexual scenes, really. There are a couple spots where they talk about not having any kind of sexual organs or anything, but there's no kissing, there's no sex scenes, there's nothing in this movie. So I do recommend that people go to see this movie and definitely take it for what it is. It's a toy. It's a comedy. It's a musical. It's a, movie for teenagers, what have you, that they can enjoy and, kind of look back over, their own childhood. But like I said, that's my sum up of the movie. And I think a lot of people that review it don't catch that message. But now it's my daughter.
First, I am going to add that there is no LGBTQ plus in it, which actually might be appropriate for younger kids even. And that sometimes they even added like a character that is an actual doll in real life that wasn't usually mentioned much. His name's Alan. They kind of portrayed that in the movie, which I thought was kind of cool. There's also different car chases. There's a funny narrator that has different comments. And they sometimes like actually painted the backgrounds, which was kind of cool, and like made it look like real things, even though it was in the Barbie land or the real world. There's also America Ferrera, Will Ferrell, and a couple other people that are really famous in there, like Ryan Gosling too. And there's also different movie references like Pride and Prejudice, The Godfather, different things like that, which they added that makes it kind of funny. And there was even a weird Barbie that was supposedly always doing splits in the movie, which actually it's a fake leg, I guess, which was kind of interesting to find out. Then there's also the funny end of the movie. So, yeah, that is my take on the movie. And the movie is also an hour and 40 minutes long. With the previews and trailers and everything, usually people say it's longer, but really it's only that long.
And the whole controversy, with the Midge doll that was discontinued, the pregnant Midge, and all that has, caused controversy. Midge, I actually have one of the discontinued Midge, not the pregnant Midge, but one of the California Midge dolls from back in the 80s. And I actually love her. She's a redhead. She's not the pregnant Barbie. And actually, Alan in the movie is actually the husband of Midge, which a lot of people don't actually realize, and they don't show that in the movie. But if you notice, Alan is the only one without a Barbie companion, and Midge is the only one without a Ken companion. So if you pay close attention, it does somewhat kind of tell you, but yet it doesn't at the same time. So our take is, go see the movie.
Now.
It's a good movie, and not as bad as people are trying to make it be. And, if a guy wants to go see it with you, take him with you. If not, don't force him, because he could just take away your joy from enjoying it. It's definitely a feel-good, enjoyable movie about a toy that many women grew up playing. So, as America Ferrera says, it's the way the world is, and we all got to deal with it. Bye.
Bye.